In order to create a video clip where only a portion of the video is moving while the rest of it stays still, we're going to use this clip of the waterfall. It opens as a movie with a timeline. If your timeline isn't showing, use the window menu and select timeline. In the layers panel, you can see that we have a new kind of group. This is a video group, and the video is inside of that group. I want to play the clip, but I know there's audio with the clip that's very loud. So at the end of the clip, there's a triangle. I can click on that, then select the notes icon and mute the audio. I'll tap enter in order to dismiss that. And while we're here, because this clip is so long, I'm just going to grab the out point here, or the end of the clip, and just drag it over so that it goes to about this 10-second mark. Then I'll click in the timeline in order to play the clip of the waterfall. All right, so we have the motion. Now, how do we make most of the image stop? Well, I'll click stop, and then we'll return the current time indicator to the beginning of the timeline. Here, I'll select all. Then I'll choose Edit and Copy Merge to copy this frame in the movie. And then I'll choose Edit and Paste. But when I paste it, Photoshop is going to paste it inside of that video group, and it adds it to the end of the video clip. So I need to take this layer out of the video group, and I'm just going to rename it to Still, since this is my still image. And then I'm going to drag it above the group until I see the single horizontal line and release the cursor. Now that it's outside of the video group, it's on its own track in the timeline, and I can reposition it and then drag the out point so that it's the same duration as the video clip. Now when I click play, well, we don't see anything happening because we're only looking at the still. All right, I'll click the stop in order to stop the movie from playing, and we'll return the current time indicator to the beginning of the video. On the layers panel, I'm going to add a layer mask to the still image. I'll tap the B key to select my paintbrush. I'll right-click in order to reset the tool, and then just get a larger brush by holding down the right bracket key. Making sure that I'm painting with black, I can now paint in the image in the area that I want to see through the still layer so that I see the motion on the video below. So now when I click play, we can see that the water is only going to be moving in the area where the mask is black, because that's hiding the still frame. But we can even take this one step further. I'm going to use Command Z in order to undo that. You can see my mask is now pure white. And instead of masking just in one area, I'm going to start at the top of the image, hold down the Shift key, and just drag down a single line. If we hold down the Option key, we can look at the mask that I just created, then toggle back on the visibility of the layers. I'm going to tap the backslash key, which will show the mask as that red overlay, and making sure that I'm at the beginning of the timeline, so moving this current time indicator to the far left, I'm going to separate the mask from the layer by clicking on the link icon in between them. Then I'll use the disclosure triangle on the timeline next to the still layer in order to reveal a number of properties that I can keyframe. And by keyframing, I'm just going to be telling Photoshop where something should be, in this case, the mask, at a certain point in time. So because I'm at the beginning of the timeline, I can switch to the Move tool. The mask is targeted in my Layers panel, and I can drag the mask over to the left-hand side. I want Photoshop to keep track of this, so I will toggle the keyframe icon for layer mask position by clicking on it. We can see that Photoshop has added a keyframe in the timeline. Now I just need to move the current time indicator to the end of the timeline. With the Move tool still selected, I can click and drag that mask. And Photoshop will calculate the amount of movement it needs to make over this timeline to move the mask from one side of the image to the next. So I'll tap the backslash key again to hide the mask, position the current time indicator at the beginning of the timeline, and I can click play and we can watch as the mask moves across, enabling us to see the motion underneath across the video over time. But we can take it one step further. While we're at the out point or the end of the video, I'm going to make a change to the mask. I'm going to show it again by tapping that backslash key. I'll select the brush by tapping on the B key, making sure that I'm painting with black. I'm just going to paint with black here so that as the mask moves over to the right, all of this area of the water here will continue to move. So I'm just going to paint a little bit more up here. That should do it. All right, we'll return to the beginning of the timeline. I will tap the backslash key and then I'll tap the space bar in order to play that. So now instead of there just being a bar that moves across, all of this area continues to move as well. Excellent. When we've got it the way we want it, we should definitely save this file because that will save all of the work that's done in the timeline. So I'll call this waterfall with mask. I'll save it into the same folder as a layered Photoshop document. And then to export the video, I'll choose File, Export, Render Video. We'll select a location for it, and then we need to look at the different format options. It's probably easiest to select a preset if you know the destination of the video. In this case, the original video was only 720, so I'll limit it to that, and then choose Render in order to render the video. Excellent. There's a fast way to take a video and using Photoshop's timeline and layer mask capability, create a video where only a portion of the image moves at any one time.